So now, what we're all here for, the San Martel came out with members of, I guess I'm not sure what the class is.
Entrepreneurship.
An entrepreneurship class. They've been working hard all year to set up the school store, The Nest, and they have a lot of really cool things. So I'll let her take it away.
Having us here today. Like he said, I'm Miss Martel, Samantha Martel. I've been teaching at the high school for, well, at the end of the semester, it'll be a year and a half now. I started last January. So I'm going to let them take over. They are the students of mine who have been in the class from day one, starting in September. We've started the entrepreneurship class just this year, so it is the first time that we had it here at the high school. So they are kind of behind all of the work that we have done the entire year and kind of where we're at, where we are at right now. So I'll let you go for it.
Okay, so I'm Haley Yeager. I'm a senior at high school.
I'm Gigi Ganjian. I'm also a senior.
I'm Mickey Borkowski. I'm also a senior.
I'm Jacob Dawson, and I'm a junior.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the beginning of the school year and how our entrepreneurship kind of developed the Nest. So there was 8 of us first semester, and now we've added 16 to the class, which is kind of nice for us. And the first thing we did as a class was we made a survey for the community, and we sent it out through Facebook because everybody has Facebook these days, and we thought that'd be the best bet to get response. And what we put on the survey was questions asking what people would want in the school store for merchandise, for snacks, and then we asked what they thought the need was for a school store. And on the back of your brochures, over 50% of the people said that there was a need for a school store and they would love it. So we decided to follow through with making the school store, and from there we made a business plan as a class, and on the business plan we figured out the demographics, the geographics, the psychographics. We also came up with the name, which is The Nest, and we kind of planned out how we were going to lay out the school store and what room it was going to be in the school. And if you don't know, it is in the room right next to the guidance office, I believe, if you've all been in there. And later on in the semester, we also received a grant from the Prescott Foundation, and we used that money to help us build the school store. And we also did fundraisers such as bingo, and we also sold homecoming t-shirts to help us build the school store. Now Haley's going to talk about the field trips we took and the renovating.
So at first we didn't really know, we didn't have a good idea of what should be in a school store or how it looks. So we went to Ellsworth High School, New Richmond High School, and Somerset High School to get an idea of what one looks like and what it's like just to be in there, and furniture they had in there. And after seeing that, we went to Accent Store Fixtures in Minneapolis, and there we got hangers, countertops, shelves, anything we needed to start a school store. So renovating the room, we had we all painted it, students painted it, and we had Mr. Koenig, the shop teacher. He renovated our countertop we got and everything. He did a bunch of work for us, which was really nice. And the clothing we got in there. So we ordered through Chippewa Valley Sporting Goods, which is in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and River City Stitch, which is in Prescott, you know. So our products are very unique just because, I was in the clothing merchandise group, so me and my group designed the clothing. We picked out the logos, put them on the apparel, chose what color the apparel would be and the logos, so that you can't buy, we have samples right there, you can't buy them at River City Stitch, you can't buy them downtown Prescott, you can only buy them in the school store. That's basically it.
Alright. So we sell other products as well. We sell food and drinks, and coffee is basically our biggest seller. we sell a bunch of that every day. We also sell lattes, tea, pretzels, granola bars, and LaCroix. It's really hard to sell food items though because there's so many strict restrictions that we have to follow. Sorry. And then we were donated school supplies such as folders and notebooks. And just some extra stuff we sell are magnets, lanyards, and card decals, all with the Flying P logo on them.
As part of the class, once we got the store up and running, and I got 16 more students, as they said, come second semester, we broke up into groups and we did 5 different committees. So I had like a finance committee who worked on pricing items out and figuring out, how we're going to keep the record once we start getting sales. And then we had a hiring committee where they work on the schedule and the handbook, the employee handbook. And then we also, related to that committee, wanted managers for the school store. So we decided that they needed to go through a process in order to become a manager. So I have 7 managers right now of the 20 students that I have, and they had to interview with me and Mr. Figge in order to become a manager and tell us why they wanted it and go through the entire process. I had 7 interview, and we accepted all 7 into the position because we have so many things variable right now that we're still working out, so I thought more managers would be better. And then to kind of go along, the other committees, was the marketing committee, the food committee, and the merchandise committee, like Haley said, she was on picking out a lot of the clothes. I want to talk a little bit on the marketing committee specifically because we do have a Facebook and social media account where we are trying to reach as many people as possible, but it's been hard because without a lot of parents coming into the school all the time, we're relying on the students as our main target market right now. But I see that changing once we get into sporting events and other events as the year kind of comes. But with our marketing, I actually have 2 students who do all of the social media posts approved by me. But they run it, they look at the insights, they do everything behind it. So they have a really fun time with it. If you see all the pictures on the front and in the inside, they did a photo shoot one day. They came up with the idea, they thought it'd be super fun to put on the merchandise and then go in the auditorium and take a photo shoot. So that's where a lot of those pictures come from. And yeah, I just wanted to touch on social media. So if you haven't followed us or seen our page on Instagram or Twitter, it is, or not Twitter, I'm sorry, Facebook. It's not on the brochure, but you can just search The Nest and you should be able to find it.
So basically where we are now is the school store is completely up and running. Just recently we've received a grant from the Anne Marie Foundation, and we've kind of broken up into groups and we've been doing pitches and to kind of figure out where all that money is going to go towards. And we've come up with lots of ideas, good ideas, traveling stands, more coffee supplies. We're looking into ethically made items, and it's just that's just kind of where we're at right now, and we're going from there.
We're very grateful we got the opportunity to present the Nest to you, and we hope to see you soon in the school store.
What are your hours, Haley?
The hours are on the back of the brochure.
And is it a situation where you have to check into the office in order to get to the store?
Not if you come after or before school, right? They should be able to just come right into the store.
Right, once the door, at 3:25 when the doors, the school day ends, the doors automatically open so people can come in and out of there. And there are different school events, so like last night, and the Quanians were busy, but the school store was open then during the awards night, so parents and so forth could see that too. So.
It was actually one of our best nights we've had this last night, so it was fun.
How did you come up with the name?
We all kind of just pitched in and just came up with The Nest. We were gonna do some other weird ones, but we thought The Nest was the best bet. And that's what, when we have sporting events, that's what we call, like, when you go to volleyball games and there's a student section, we call that The Nest, kind of. That's our thing. And for softball and all the other sport events.
Are you profit or non-profit?
Right now we're profit, but what I'm trying to do in the future is, and I don't have to set it up because I have to do some things behind it, but I'm going to try to make it some of the profits into a scholarship for my managers. So that's my foreseen future of where I'm going with it. So.
Do employees get paid?
You guys get paid? No.
You get a discount?
No.
Maybe something in the future.
Do you at least give them all A's?
If they show up to work.
They earn the A's.
So with this being an entrepreneurial class, then I would assume that you're looking at this like you're starting a business and this is what it costs and you have a profit and loss statement. So how do you like factor in the grants? Because like if you're gonna open a normal business, you kind of have to look at those as almost loans, I would think.
Yeah, and we've talked about that, like having that as our startup money because we kind of started with nothing. So we just use that as kind of our startup money and realized that in a normal business that would be a loan.
Okay.
But we were lucky enough to be able to have them as grants and work up from there. So.
Did you say this is a new class?
Yeah, it started last year.
An entrepreneurial classes is under the business classes that are offered?
And I'd like to point out too that Ms. Martell was a new teacher last year, so you have a brand new teacher taking on a brand new class that had never been taught to open up a brand new school store that had not been there before. So the amount of work that she has into this is unbelievable. It's been really successful. So we're really, really lucky to have her as a teacher too.
Are you a business major?
Well, business education major, so both under the education.
Could each of our students tell us something specifically that you've learned through your interactions with the entrepreneurship class? Like maybe something that was different than you thought it would be, or that you learned maybe about yourself?
Well, it's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, definitely. I didn't realize that it was going to be so much. Because from other schools I've heard like, oh, it's just easy, you just work. But this is different because you actually had to like start up the business and do all the work behind it. One thing I've learned is that starting a business is really hard actually, and there's a lot more work put into it than you think.
Something I learned is that I actually really enjoyed opening this up. Just kind of gave me like a whole new insight on the whole business world, you know.
I've learned that you can't really do it by yourself at all. Like us, we had 8 people in the beginning of the semester, first semester, and that was like really challenging. But then like we gained 16 more people and it like just became so much more easy, like to get what you had to get done and then just like relied on the rest of the people to do their part.
Kind of going off of what Gigi said, I learned that it's really difficult, especially in the beginning, like starting everything up. And it's kind of really difficult to convince people that it's going to be successful.
Building off of that, they love when I ask questions. Building off of a lot of different people, a lot of different ideas. What challenges did you face with communication? Everyone trying to work together like that too.
So recently with our pitches idea, like what we should do with the like Anne Marie Foundation grant we got, there was so many ideas coming at us, like, and there was like even me, like I was like, I don't personally think that would be a good idea, but so we kind of just had to give our own opinions, what we think. Like Ms. Martella gave us a sheet on like what we think and what we don't think would happen, and it was hard for her to figure out what we should do with that money, just because like all these like responses she got were just like clashing together.
Who wrote the grant for the Anne Marie Foundation?
Our grant writer Carrie Fisher helped us with that. Yep.
Any
Do
other
any of you
questions?
plan to go on and study business in college or not?
Maybe.
I mean, I'm sure it's not a requirement
Yeah.
for this class.
Yeah. I was thinking either marketing or business or physical education. Yeah.
Did you guys have to deal with filing taxes this year, or do you get to pass that off on next year's crew?
Well, since we work with the school, we get to bypass some of that, so.
Oh, fantastic.
Any other questions for them?
What is, ultimately, I assume you want to, what's your profit margin like? If you buy the item for $10, what are you selling it? Do you have just like it's a 40% on everything or?
Do you
Or,
guys want to try on that? We didn't do like everything's, marked up at a certain price or percentage. We sat down and we looked at, okay, what's River City Stitch selling theirs for? What are other people selling theirs for? What do we think people will demand it for? And we literally, the whole entire class was sitting there and we said, okay, what do you think? And then we all like argued our points. Maybe it should be a little higher, maybe it should be a little lower. And we kind of just based it on demand and competition. And then what we think is a good markup. We looked at markups and how much is it really marked up, really marked down, and we had those conversations in class. So each one's a lot different for the markup.
Do you have any products you'd like to bring in, you're just not sure of, or?
Right now, we're talking about joggers, because that's a big trend, I guess, and everybody wants joggers. And what else?
We're also not like products, but like food. We would kind of what we talked about, like a cookie, like a little oven in there. Like we went to Ellsworth and they had like a little cookie oven that they make cookies like for sporting events. And we're thinking, oh, that would be like that would sell really good. It's just like during school you can't do that because of the restrictions, but after school it's definitely a possibility. Oh, sure.
We've talked about getting more promotional items like decaled water bottles, mugs, little promotional things.
Reusable straws,
Yeah. Yeah, and the
save fish.
blankets, we talked about that the other day. So we're still looking into different things. And I think that's kind of next year too, we'll maybe test out a few more things and see what sells. So.
Are there any surprises you've had, things that haven't worked?
We had a group of girls make some smoothies, and we kind of like they had to fit restrictions, so they like weren't like the best tasting. They were kind of like they're bad. They were not bad. And we gave them to students to try at one of the bingo fundraisers we did, and everyone hated them so bad. So we're like kind of just crossed that off. Like not right now. We're not gonna do that. So.
Yeah, the food is hard for us just because of restrictions and everything. So that's still a work in progress. So. Questions?
Sounds like a great thing. Congratulations.
They've done a lot